Hello everybody, Anthony Aniano from RotoBaller Radio and RotoBaller.com here with a look at the rankings and ADP values of first basemen as you prepare for your fantasy baseball season. Folks, don't forget, go to RotoBaller.com right now, sign up today, use the promotional code ACES, sign up for any of our premium passes, especially our Major League Baseball Premium Pass, and get all great content right there at RotoBaller.com, including our team sync tools, lineup optimizers, draft strategies, and all sorts of great articles, as well as those tools that RotoBaller.com provides. Give me a follow on Twitter at @AnianoFantasy. And don't forget, like and subscribe right here to the RotoBaller YouTube channel, and download the free RotoBaller app for all the latest news and notes in the world of fantasy sports. All right, everybody, it's time now, if you haven't already, to start preparing for that fantasy baseball season. So head over to RotoBaller.com, like I said, and take a look at those rankings. And I'm going to point out a few players today on those RotoBaller rankings. Look at some of their NFBC ADPs at this point, as we're right around Super Bowl Sunday here at the time of this. Obviously, rankings change, ADPs change, but at the time of this, right around February 10th, this is where we stand at this point. And I've got 5 first basemen I want to talk about. And the first one is the steady guy, the consistent guy, the back of the baseball guy. And there's a few of them. The Tier 1, Tier 2 first baseman over at RotoBaller.com's rankings. Players like Freddie Freeman, Paul Goldschmidt, Vladimir Guerrero, Matt Olson, and the one I wanted to mention today, Pete Alonso. Any one of them are a safe play on your fantasy team. Back of the baseball card type of players, I like to say. Pete Alonso is currently ranked on RotoBaller.com as the number 4 first baseman, behind Vladimir Guerrero, Freddie Freeman, and Paul Goldschmidt. He's listed as a Tier 2 player. The Tier 1 players are Vladimir Guerrero and Freddie Freeman. His current NFBC ADP sits at number 17, the 3rd first baseman being drafted off the board. Now, Freddie Freeman's Pete Alonso's going to play every day. He's going to hit 4th most times in that Met lineup, a lineup with players who can get on base on a regular clip, such as Brandon Nimmo, Marte, McNeil, Lindor, you name it. We know that offense is solid. Last season, in 597 at-bats, he did what Alonso does, a .271 batting average, 40 home runs, led the league with 131 RBIs, and scored 95 runs, even mixed in 5 stolen bases. Now, what's interesting about a player like Alonso, a 40 home run guy, he's got 35 or more home runs 3 of his 4 years in the league, the only year being the COVID-shortened year where he didn't hit at least 35 home runs. He's hit 40 twice last year in his rookie season, where he hit 53. He's driven in 90 or more runs each of those 3 or 4 seasons. The one caveat about him is he's not just a slugger. Okay, Pete Alonso knows how to hit. .271 tells you that. In a league filled with .240 hitters, Pete Alonso is above the curve at that .271. He's above that curve with a .261 lifetime average. He doesn't strike out a ton. Last season, again, for a 40 home run guy, Pete Alonso only struck out 18.7% of the time. Batting on average on balls in play was a league standard type of number of .279, and his weighted on base average was .366. Now, it could be Alonso. It doesn't have to be Alonso, and that's the point here. With that consistent performer at first base, if you want that safe, that consistent player, whether it's Vlad Jr., Freeman, Olson, Goldschmidt, Pete Alonso, you know what you're going to get. You're going to get elite numbers and not a lot of worry, players who play every day. Now, speaking of risky first baseman, Christian Walker of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Risk number 1 with Christian Walker is age. Everybody else I'm mentioning is 28 or less years old. Alonso's 28 years old. Christian Walker is 31. RotoBaller has him ranked at number 11 at the first base position, which means in a 12-team, 5x5 fantasy baseball league, Christian Walker is starting for your fantasy team. NFBC ADP currently has him at 119. On average, he's going in rounds 13 or 14. Now, last season's numbers were fantastic. 36 home runs, the power numbers, I should say. 36 home runs, 94 RBIs, 84 runs scored. Didn't strike out a ton, less than 20%. I love that number, 19.6 to be exact. Okay, couple of downsides, though, to Christian Walker. Number one was the batting average, 242. That's a big no-no. And that batting average on balls in play was 248. Now, those are standard kind of for Christian Walker. He's a lifetime 247 hitter, so I can't expect or hope for 260, 270 out of him. And the other question is how much does he play? And does the power repeat? Now, the question really, to me, is the playing. 2019, he played in 152 games and hit 29 home runs. Last season, 160 games, and he hit those 36 home runs. Other than that, he's never played more than 110 games. He's never come close to 30 home runs, okay? So those are the only times where you've seen those elite power numbers with those two seasons, and they coincided with health and games, over 150 of them. Otherwise, you haven't seen the production because you haven't seen the game plays. He is not a given. I don't mind him if I need a corner infielder, but if I am looking for a rock-solid first baseman who I think is going to provide elite power production, my concerns for Christian Walker are A, the batting average on the wrong side of 250, and number two, can he repeat another 150, 160 game season that brings along that close to or a little bit above 30 home run production. The third first baseman I wanted to mention, the up-and-comer, the riser, the guy you should be excited about, and that's Vinnie Pestano, the second-year player for the Kansas City Royals, 25 years old. Currently, RotoBaller has him ranked one spot higher than Christian Walker, 10th overall. Same tier, tier 4. On average, he's going a round or two earlier than Christian Walker. Call it round 11 or 12. In the NFBC, he's going about 19 players earlier at pick roughly 100. Now, Pasquantino, in 258 Major League at-bats, hit 295, 10 home runs, 26 RBIs, and 25 runs scored. Now, here's the catch. If you picked up Pasquantino, and I remember telling everybody to add him when he was hitting the waiver wire and getting called up last year by Kansas City. If you picked him up early, you were probably disappointed. And maybe, just maybe, that scarred you a little bit. Because in the first half last season, after getting called up, he only hit 208. Now, second half of the season comes. Kansas City, let's be honest, their baseball team was irrelevant at that point last season. Yet his second half was scorching. He hit 328 over the second half of the Major League Baseball season last year, finishing the year at a surprising 295. Now, combined Major Leagues and AAA last year, you're talking about 28 home runs, 96 RBIs. He'll be hitting fourth in that Kansas City Royal lineup. I love the upside of Pasquantino. If he could give you 280, forget about 295, and come close to that 30 home runs, he's a terrific draft pick, round 11 or 12, and somebody who a year from now will be in that safe, consistent zone potentially, like the Olsons, like the Goldschmidts. I'm not saying he's as good as them, but he's going to be a safer power play than a Christian Walker potentially can be. Now, my final two first basemen, they're your late round flyers. They're your quote-unquote sleeper, although I don't love that term, but they are the lottery tickets. If they hit, you're probably going to win your league. If they miss, you're going to drop them and move on with your season. The first one is the 23-year-old Spencer Torkelson, the former 1.1 pick in the Major League Draft back in 2020. RotoBaller has him ranked 30th first baseman overall and a current NFBC ADP of 306. Now, why is he a lottery ticket? Why is he free? In a 12-team league, he's currently going rounds 28 and 29. Essentially, in some spots, going undrafted. If you want to take a flyer on him late in the draft, corner infield option, bench option, Torkelson, ton of upside. That's why he was 1-1 in the MLB draft. He's got things to prove this year. Last year did not go well, 360 at-bats, hit only 203, struck out almost 25% of the time, and only hit 8 home runs. Not a lot to see. Detroit is committed to him to be their first baseman this season. Okay, he needs to get off to a fast start. If he does, he will have value and can climb up these RotoBaller rankings. And finally, another top prospect who's been slowed by injury, Minnesota Twins first baseman Alex Kirilloff. Now remember, Miguel Sano, he's out of Minnesota. The first base job is Kirilloff's. He had a wrist injury at the end of last year. That should not be a problem. He's expected to be fully recovered and ready for spring training. Currently ranked as the number 37 overall first baseman, tier 7, like Spencer Torkelson, going about 7 rounds later than Spencer Torkelson, rounds 35, 36. NFBC ADP of 321, just about 15 picks after Torkelson. Full disclosure, I will take Kirilloff over Torkelson every single draft I'm in this year. Kirilloff, only 25 years old. We've waited for his arrival now for a couple of years. He's been an elite level prospect for the Minnesota Twins for a couple of years. It's kind of a put up or shut up type of season for the Minnesota Twins youngster. Okay, in 2016, he was the first round pick of the Twins, 1.115. And like I said, slated to bat first and probably hit 6th or 7th in that Twins lineup. Last season, only 144 at-bats before injury, 3 homers, 21 RBIs, 14 runs scored, hit 250, struck out about 23% of the time, and a bat BIP of 308. Both Kirilloff and Spencer Torkelson, late round flyers, late round lottery tickets. If you hit, you're going to hit big. If you miss, you drop, you move on, you work the waiver wire. So in summary, my safe play, my consistent play, one of quite a few at the first base position, Pete Alonso. My risky first baseman draft pick, Christian Walker of the Arizona Diamondbacks. My up-and-comer at the first base position, Vinnie Pestano. And my flyers, my sleepers, my upside plays, I got 2 of them at first base, Spencer Torkelson and Alex Kirilloff. Guys, don't forget, give me a follow on Twitter at Aniano Fantasy. Like and subscribe right here to the RotoBaller YouTube channel. Make sure you stay tuned right here on the RotoBaller YouTube channel for great fantasy baseball coverage to help you prepare for the 2023 fantasy baseball season. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time right here on RotoBaller Radio.